What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel, and today we have a review of the Nike Phantom GX. And now this boot has impressed me a lot, and I understand why there's so much hype around this boot. Not only just because of the technology that it has, but just because it's overall a great performing boot and just a really comfortable boot. And today I'm just going to share my thoughts on what I think about the boot. So first we'll talk about the upper, since that is like the main highlight or the main key thing about this boot and the reason why you probably want to try these out. And it's because of this right here, the Nike Grip Knit. Now, the Grip Knit found on this upper, it's something new that Nike brought out just for this boot. And they've been working on it ever since the Flyknit Ultra that came out. And that, knitted material that had, grip elements was a bit different than this. That one was more like a rough texture. But this one is more like a sticky, grip. You do really feel it on hand and on the ball as well. The Nike Grip Knit is this entire gray area on the boot, and so it just covers everything right here, and the sensation just feels really great. It's different from the Predator just because the Predator does have rubber elements. I feel like the rubber elements found on the Predator are way more grippier. That doesn't mean that this isn't grippy, because this does have grip, but it's not overly sticky. The ball won't stick to your foot all that much, and you won't feel like you're gonna trip over the ball because the boot is very sticky. I feel like it's a good balance and a good amount of grip on the ball. And because it's just scattered all over the upper, or it is the entire upper, you just get a consistent feel. The Nike Grip Knit overall is still a knitted upper, so it's really, really soft and pliable. There isn't really any hard spots or anything, and it just feels really comfortable on feet. This part of the material is also knitted material. It does have a little bit of stretch, ever so slightly, but it's nothing crazy. And it just adds to the comfort of the boot. And the upper itself is on the thinner side. It's not as thin as the Vapor, I would say. It's a bit thicker than that, but it's not a leather boot at all, or a Predator that's a lot more padded. This is more on the thinner side, but it's not paper thin. It's still a knitted upper, so it has that little bit of more thickness to it, but it's not overly thick. Hopefully that makes sense. But yeah, really happy with this upper. It's just super comfortable on feet, and it just honestly feels like a sock. When I wore these for the first time and was wearing them, I feel like the breaking period was really fast. I put them on my feet, juggled a little bit, and I was just already comfortable with these. The overall shape of the boot is similar to that of previous Phantoms. I feel like they kept the same shape. Overall, it's not overly narrow. I feel like it is a bit on the wider side, but not overly wide either. I feel like it just has a good fit to it. I feel like here in the toe box, it does come a bit narrower, and it does come to a bit of a point. Yeah, I feel like if you do have a slightly wider foot, or a kind of a wide foot, I feel like you will fit into these, just because the upper will stretch, and maybe the opening, you will have a hard time getting into it. But overall, the boot, I feel does accommodate most foot types, unless you have a really, really wide foot. And in terms of sizing, I feel like this boot runs true to size. I wore these in a 9 US, which is my size, and they're perfect. I didn't really have any space. They fit perfectly, so I would just recommend going true to size. Something else that they talked about a lot was this heel counter, that the heel counter was made short so that there's more flexibility here in the back, and so there isn't really any pressure points on the heel. So as you guys can see, it really isn't any material, but the heel cup does come up to here where my thumb is, so it still does grab your heel very nicely. And I feel like this isn't something very new that we saw from Nike. I feel like now they're just promoting it a bit more. So if you go back to previous models, here I have the Nike Magista. As you guys can see, the heel counter also has this little dip in, so it's very flexible here in the heel, so there isn't really any pressure point, but the heel cup does still grab the sides of your heel, so it's kind of the same heel cup, but it's on the inside. And I feel like the heel cup doesn't go as high though, but here in the back area it's still very soft and flexible, so there isn't really any pressure points. So I feel like it's not something very new that we saw from Nike, but it's still very comfortable, and honestly there isn't really any pressure points in the heel. The heel liner is very, very padded. I really like it. Feels super comfortable. It's this nice microfiber suede heel liner, and it just feels nice. And now the sole plate of this boot I really like. It's super flexible and it moves naturally with the foot. It just like has a nice like flex to it here in the forefoot, and you still get a good amount of structure here in the midfoot. And this sole plate kind of reminds me of the Nike Hyper Venom Phantom 3, if you guys remember that boot, in terms of like flexibility. It almost has like the same like grooves as the Phantom 3, so it's just super comfortable and I really like that. I do like more of like a flexible sole plate, just because I feel like you have more studs underneath your foot, and because like it's just more like natural feeling. And the stud patterns themselves are a bit different. They're kind of a combination of a Tempo and like a Mercurial, where you have like Chronicle studs here in this part, and then you have like the new triangle studs, but they are a bit smaller. I feel like they provide a good bite, and also like you're able to move around in the grass and stuff. But overall, a great sole plate and a good stud pattern. Like nothing to complain about here. I really like this sole plate. When shooting the ball, I feel like you did see like a bit more spin on your shot. But obviously a boot isn't going to improve your shot or anything like that. That comes down to technique. But I feel like if you have the technique down and then you kind of like shoot with this boot, you kind of see that it adds a bit more spin to it. When I was like curling the ball, I did see that it kind of spun a bit more than usual. So like that's due to the grip on. So now I'll show you guys some free kicks so you guys can see the boot in action. So we'll get into that. But overall, I'm very happy with the Nike Phantom GX. I'm glad that they made this boot and this line a bit more exciting. I feel like with the Phantom GT and GT2, like the Phantom line was kind of like dying. There wasn't really any excitement on that boot in my opinion. I never found those boots interesting just because like the generative texture never caught my attention. I feel like it was just like a gimmicky thing. Like honestly, I didn't think it would provide that much grip on the ball. But when they announced like the Nike Grip Knit, I was kind of really excited because I wanted to see if they were able to, provide that grip that they showed us on the Flyknit Ultra. And because of like this grip on the boot, like it's becoming one of my favorite boots to wear at the moment. I really like wearing them just because you do get that grip. and they're just super comfortable. Yeah, but I think that this boot did a good job in reviving the Phantom line, just because I feel like it was getting a bit boring. And they were kind of like mimicking the Vapor line, and it was kind of becoming like a wider speed boot. If you guys have any questions on the boot itself, make sure to leave them in the comments. I will be answering them. If I missed anything, any details that you guys want to know, just let me know in the comments. If you guys did enjoy this video, make sure to leave a like. It really helps me a lot. Also, make sure to subscribe. We hit 1.5 thousand subscribers, so that's awesome. So thank you for that. Thank you for watching the video, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.